Today I was wondering what could I talk about, right? And I had a couple topics in my mind, but then I just went to this specific one. It's about other people's perception affecting your own image, your own perception of yourself. That's one of the things we as humans struggle with the most sometimes. I have struggled with it a lot. I have to confess. When I was a teenager, when I was 13, 14, even younger, even when I was 9, 8, I molded myself to fit with other people's ideals, with other people's taste. I wanted to be cool. I wanted to be accepted. But I quickly realized I couldn't get there. So, what I did was to criticize a lot. In my head, I I tried to make myself someone that had a higher moral compass in a way. And the fact that I couldn't connect with my peers was because I was more mature, more smarter. And not because maybe we didn't have the same values or the same taste in activities and how to spend your time. And that made me miserable because that was just a way to cope with the fact that I felt inferior. All the time, I felt inferior. And I've been reading this book called The Shame That Binds You by Dr. Bradshaw, I think. It's the name of the author. And he talks a lot about toxic shame as the origin of our toxic inferiority complex behaviors. And in some way, inferiority and superiority complex are the same thing. They just express themselves differently. When you have a superiority complex like I did, I tried to make myself more than human. So I was and am, I still struggle with it, a perfectionist. And I try to be good at everything I do. And if I start something and I'm not immediately good at it, like right now, even recording this video, I know the angle may not be the best, and I hope it's recording and I hope the audio is good. And maybe when I edit, I'll find out I said something wrong or something that I don't really agree with, but I just express it in a bad way, and that will frustrate me a little bit. Yeah. But the problem with perfectionism is that it ties your worth as a person with how well you do something or how well you act in a certain situation. And if you fail, if you don't live up to your standards, then you're a shitty person basically, and you don't deserve love or acceptance or to be a fucking human being. You shouldn't be here. And that's frustrating and that hurts because you're the one that's constantly inflicting pain on yourself. And that just comes from spending years comparing yourself to others and falling short. But you fall short because you're comparing something that shouldn't be compared. You're comparing your essence as a human being. You can't compare that to someone else's. You can say, yeah, that person's really authentic and I admire that. But if you want to be authentic, you can't copy their attitudes. And that's a mistake we constantly make. We try to be more authentic by copying someone else's attitude. For instance, I was just listening to this interview from Cardi B, and I think we all agree she's very authentic. She's, super confident in her skin, and that's what the image she sells to the world. And sometimes we watch these interviews or hear these people and we think they are very authentic. I want to be like them. And that's just, again, contradictory. Constantly contradicting yourself, because if you want to be more authentic, all you have to do is to trust yourself more, to trust that you will make mistakes and you will also do good things you're proud of. And that doesn't change your worth as a human being. So you might as well choose what you really want to do, what really feels right for you. Even when that doesn't make sense to someone else, especially when it doesn't make sense for someone else, because that's the ultimate proof that you are authentic. When you can be in a room full of people that tell you that you are not smart for making that move, or that thing you're doing is dumb. Of course, sometimes you have to listen to it and say, okay, maybe I shouldn't make this investment. Maybe it's not so smart. It could be a scam. In those situations, you have to be careful. But in personal things like which sport you want to make or practice, which career you want to choose, you can take advice, but you have to choose. You have to choose for yourself. And that decision won't always make sense to the rest of the world. And you have to be okay with it. That's what true authenticity means. It means stepping into a room, owning who you are, owning that you have opinions and that you can voice them out, and also owning the fact that you could ignore certain things and that you're not perfect, that those opinions can change over time. That's really important too. You have to accept that you are not this stagnant being that has to be built up with time. You also change in profound ways over time. And that's something we have to accept. I tell that to myself too. All these videos are from myself too. You have to accept the fact that this value that you think will never change, ever, it might change someday. You live for that. You live for change, for exploration, for growth. And in comparing yourself to others, you're just wasting your fucking time. You're just wasting your fucking time. It would be a better use of time if you shared your experiences and your lessons and you opened a healthy debate with your friends, with your family, with your loved ones about, or even random people about those lessons, and maybe they can see the situation from a different angle that gives you more wisdom on it. That's a good way of comparing. But the other type of you sitting in your room ruminating about how weird you were in that situation and how others seem to be way more comfortable or cooler or whatever the heck it is that you're comparing yourself to, that's just torturing yourself, and that's not worth it. So yeah, that was it for today. I don't have that much battery in my camera, so I think it's a short one, but it's a really important message, and yeah, I hope you liked it.